Iman Gadzhi just released a video next to Guillaume Mubesh, the founder of Lemlist, giving some of the most outdated cold email advice that you can get if you're sending cold emails or thinking about sending cold emails. And because I've sent over 3 million cold emails and generated over 7 figures in revenue for my clients with my lead generation agency, BuzzLead, I'm going to be breaking down everything that is wrong with these strategies and some alternatives that I guarantee will make you more money with cold email. Without further ado, let's jump into the video. So first things first, I do want to make a disclaimer that, I have all the respect in the world for both Iman Gadzhi and Guillaume Mubesh. They are phenomenal businessmen, so I don't mean for this to be a knock on them because they do give plenty of excellent advice, and I don't mean to lower their credibility. I just think that the strategies given here are outdated. I think that cold email is a lot more saturated, a lot more competitive, and harder to succeed in today than it was 2 to 3 years ago. So mistake number one, Guillaume, as I mentioned, he is the founder of Lemlist, which is an automated email sending platform. The first topic that he discusses is split testing your campaigns. Specifically, Guillaume talks about split testing your subject lines and subject lines only. The other thing is he tells you to be split testing two variations of your subject lines with 100 to 200 prospects. And with that amount of data, you should be able to have a good indicator of which subject line gets more people to open the email than others. First off, I think that is way too small of a sample size. And I think in order to properly split test, instead of testing with 100 to 200 prospects, you need to be split testing with 1,000 prospects. The reason being is data can be skewed. The people that you reach out to on a small sample set of 100 leads, it just might so happen that the better leads that had intent to buy happen to be on one half of the lead list than the other half. And the other thing is, I think Guillaume states how much volume you need to be sending with cold email in order to get success. And with 100 to 200, emails going out, you might only get a couple of responses. So that's really just not enough accurate data to really get a good measure. But the big thing that I want to stress is that BuzzLead, we really strongly, and me personally, I strongly believe that people overthink these subject lines. And I don't think they're as important as people really make them out to be. So I think that what's more important is going to be the copywriting itself, the offer itself, the pain points that you're leading with, the call to actions, the hooks. I think that is a lot more powerful than the subject lines themselves. With the subject lines, we like to keep it simple and just spin tax a couple of variations that we know are probably going to get the guy to open up the email. So walking through Guillaume's recommendation, he says split test 2 variations of your subject lines with 100 to 200 leads, then decide which subject line is the winner. So you've got subject line number 1, subject line number 2. You send out 100 to 200 emails. Whichever one has more responses is the winner that you use in forward campaigns. I think this is just way too simple of a strategy. And when I talk about what BuzzLead likes to do, we keep the subject line simple and we just use spin tax there. But what we're actually split testing is the scripts themselves. And we're not split testing with 100 to 200 leads. We're split testing with at least 1,000 leads. That gives you enough data to truly validate whether or not one angle is better than the other. And that's why we do that. So let's break down an example of how BuzzLead would position ourselves. Let's pretend for this example that we are selling product development services. So we basically help different companies develop their different products, find manufacturers, source production, source different factories, and actually help with the go-to-market rollout. Our subject lines would simply just be a couple of different variations of this. Are you developing new products? Question about your products. Or question for John, question John. 4 different variations here. All of those are likely to get the decision maker or the person on the other end to open up the email. Now for our intro line, we're also using spin tax. We're essentially plugging in a couple of different pain points. Heading up production, I'm sure you're finding it hard to source factories that can meet your target prices outside of China, and then a whole bunch of different variations of that. And the reason we use spin tax is because it fools email servers for marking you as spam. And the reason they mark you as spam a lot of times is if they see automated emails or the same emails going out in bulk, like it looks clear that you're just spamming people. So when you add spin tax, it's adding different variations of the same message while getting the same point across. Now, the main things that BuzzLead is split testing is going to be the offer itself and then the hook or the call to action. I think that those two are the most critical pieces of a campaign. If you have a good offer, you want to be split testing to make sure you can strengthen that. And call to actions, somebody might bounce on one magnet versus another. So essentially what we're going to be split testing is, the offers itself. So we have the spin tax for the subject line, the intro line, and then for the offer itself, offer number 1 is we help brands take their product ideas from inspiration to tangible reality in under 150 days, utilizing our elevated product method to vet market opportunities, source production partners, and enable go-to-market rollout. Then the second variation of that for the split test 2 is after profitably launching 1,000 products, we serve as product innovators' trusted go-to market partners, helping advise on market research, product creation, and production so you can, win the market over every time. So those are the two things that we're split testing. And then we're also going to be split testing the call to actions. So with offer number 1, we'll use this call to action, open to me sharing some of our customer wins. And then for offer number 2, we're going to go ahead and use this call to action. I put together a 1-pager outlining our process. Can I share it with you here? So now you can get a true split test of the stuff that matters, the meat and the bones in your whole process, which is your offer and your call to actions. And as I mentioned, we use heavy spin tags to spoof the email servers and not have them mark us as spam. But that's essentially it on mistake number 1. If you're split testing, you need to be split testing with heavy volume, or not heavy volume, but at least 1,000 leads as opposed to 100 to 200 leads. And then we think that it's much more important split testing your offers and your call to actions as opposed to just a subject line that doesn't prove or show what you can actually do to help somebody. By changing up the offer and using different variations of it, you might find that some people respond to, an offer positioned one way over the other. Now, going on to mistake number 2. Guillaume, he preaches giving value-based intro lines, and one of his go-to methods is giving personalized compliments to serve as the icebreaker. And after sending over 3 million cold emails myself, I can tell you right now that this method does not work well. When I first started sending cold emails and I watched a couple YouTube videos or took a course, I used personalized lines like, hey, I noticed that you live in Ohio, go Buckeyes. Or, there's a couple of different examples here, but giving those personalized compliments, people could sniff the ingenuinity, if that's a real word, but people can sniff that from a mile away. They know that you don't actually care. You didn't actually research their website or do all this and that. And the thing is, there's so many AI generated first line tools that you just look like the rest of the spammers out there. So here's the example that Guillaume gives as a good first line opener. Hi, John. Just saw that you recently became director of business operations at company. It must be exciting to lead a team for a project with such a cutting edge approach to customer relationship management. Blech. That literally just makes me want to barf because you could smell that it is written by AI. It just doesn't look genuine. If you have ever changed your job title or job position, how many times have you been on LinkedIn and seen a message exactly like this? Except probably 30 messages exactly like that in your inbox at all times right after you switch position. Same thing for the person that is on the other end in this prospect. Personalized intros do work in some cases. I do want to make that clear. I do think personalized intros are powerful when they are extremely relevant. And for example, just a few use cases that you can point out that that someone is associated with something is if somebody just got funded, like a company just got funded or acquired, or maybe they attended a specific event that you were a sponsor at, or maybe they use a specific technology stack that your product integrates really well with, or maybe they're members of a very specific group on LinkedIn that it's good to point that out. And a great way to segue into the conversation is, hey, I noticed you just got funding, yada, yada, yada. Hey, I noticed you were at the tech summit, which we were sponsored at XYZ, or noticed you use HubSpot as your CRM and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, aside from those 4 use cases though, we really do avoid those. So when looking at what Buzzlead does, instead of giving personalized compliments, we do point out that we know who they are. So we first make that clear that we know who they are, but we immediately follow that up with a problem that we know that they have. So here's a few different examples across different industries. Selling cybersecurity solutions. Hi, John. It looks like you oversee email and messaging security. Have you or your team been experiencing a recent rise in advanced phishing attempts both natively and on social channels? So we point out we know who they are, and then we lead with pain. Now let's pretend you're selling copywriting services. Hi, Kate. Leading growth marketing. Are you looking to establish XYZ company's industry-leading voice this year? If somebody is in charge of growth marketing, their number one goal is that they need to give their brand a voice and get them pushing content out there. So it's a perfect way, because the biggest thing that probably keeps her up at night is not giving good enough content for her to keep her position, not getting enough views on their brand. Now let's pretend we're selling SEO services for SaaS companies. Hey Liz, I was searching for your company and had some difficulty locating your brand on Google searches. I'm sure other users might have a similar experience. So right here, if this person is in charge of marketing or SEO and we let them know that we were looking for their company but had some difficulty locating them, if they're a SaaS company, the thing that they care about the most is being ranked on the first page of Google. So that's a great way to just dive right into the pain before you go and pitch your offer. So mistake number 2, avoid the first line personalized compliments or the AI generated text. I really just think it's so outdated. I think people could smell it from a mile away. And instead, I think you're gonna have a lot more success if you lead with pain, cut the bullshit. Now, jumping into mistake number 3, Guillaume includes a ton of pictures, links, URLs all throughout his copy. And this is an absolute deliverability killer. I can't stress that more and more. But especially, I don't know if people have been following cold email, but email servers such as Microsoft or Google, they are absolutely cracking down on spam and email deliverability. And anytime you add an image, anytime you add a URL or a link within your copywriting or different unsubscribe links or Calendly booking links, all of those different things are adding pixels to your email copywriting, and the pixels get picked up by the email servers who then mark you as spam because they see that you have the added pixels. And so in this example right here, you could see a copy of what Guillaume had used. He put an image here, and what it could be worse, but there was other examples throughout the video, but essentially including this little image right here and then including a Calendly booking link right below that and an unsubscribe link under that, those are all added pixels, and you're just literally asking to be marked as spam. So I just want to reiterate, adding images to your copy, it's a no-no. Guillaume also advises on including your calendar booking link in your campaigns to make it easy on the prospect. Just send them over their booking link and then they could easily book whenever it pleases them. I think that that's just not the way to do it. You don't want to just give somebody a Calendly booking link and have them book it. Some people will bite on that, but instead it's better to try manually booking the appointment. You get that confirmation that the other person is actually going to show up for the meeting. You're not sending links, so you're not jeopardizing your deliverability. And to just wrap things up here with what Buzzly does, we are sending plain HTML text only. So no images, no links. That includes the unsubscribe links, and that also includes the Calendly booking link. You're better off manually booking meetings than including booking links in your copy. So we have our inbox manager manually booking these meetings. And then instead of including unsubscribe links, we just include a little blurb at the bottom of the copy that says reply stop to unsubscribe. Gets the same point across without adding the added pixels and jeopardizing, your campaigns by getting marked as spam. So mistake number 4, last but not least here, just one strategy that Guillaume had used in the video, and I just think that it's it's absolutely terrible. He loves this technique, but he mentions the push-pull technique, and he mentions to start with a strong ask to show them how you can help them achieve the desired outcome. And then you finish that with a soft push to no. So the exact example that he gave, this is his copy right here. So this is me reaching out to a prospect. I need 30 minutes of your time to show you how BuzzLead will achieve 1 million views on a monthly basis and a 30% boost in qualified leads coming from the content you share. If you're too busy, and then he says, insert something personal, I'll understand. Either way, keep rocking. I hate this. I just think my hot take is that this technique is terrible and too demanding. These prospects have no clue that you exist, and you have no authority. You can't just demand something from somebody that you've never met. You need to make the copy all about the prospect, not yourself, and it's about what they want, not what you want. So what does Buzzly do instead? And it's not this push-pull technique, but this is kind of a similar strategy. So what does Buzzly do for this? Our approach to a strategy like this is that we are going to list out the ideal outcome that we think or we know that they want, and then ask. We're asking, not telling or demanding. We're asking them if it's something that they're interested in. So here's a template that you could use. If we could ideal outcomes, so you're going to plug in your ideal outcome here, and the time frame of when that might happen, like we did for case study 1 and case study 2, would you be interested in speaking? It's a lot softer of approach. You're including social proof here. You're painting the ideal dream outcome that you know that they want. And so plugging in some examples here, if I'm selling lead generation services, if we could generate you 17 meetings with your ICP in 45 days, like we did for Callbox and Spillover, would you be interested in speaking? Or if we were to be selling YouTube services, if we could get you 3 new inbound customers from YouTube in 90 days, like we did for BuzzLead and Rocket Leads, would you be interested in speaking? Yeah, that's really the last of my takes here. The push-pull technique, I don't think it's something that you can demand. You're reaching out to people cold, and you need to keep that in mind. Everything is about them, their desires, not you and what you want. I hope that after watching this video, you can understand why some of these strategies were so outdated and so terrible. And I hope that you've actually learned something from this that you can plug and incorporate into your outreach for your business. So if you did find this valuable and you want some more of my content, then stay tuned for this next video.